Let us now understand what while loops are. We have already seen for loops in action and they looked very satisfying and it looks like we can accomplish everything with them. But sometimes while loop is really very helpful. What exactly is this while loop? Let's find out. So I'm inside my computer screen and VS Code is open. Let's create another file called 02 underscore while loop.py. And let's write a while loop. So I already showed you something in the last video, which was you can always print 1 to 5. You cannot stop anyone from doing that, but you can always give a stronger challenge of printing 1 to 1 million, which very few people, or I would say nobody, would be able to accomplish alone. But let's try to accomplish the same thing using while loop. I can say something like while, and I can say I is less than 6, and then I can do something like print I. But what exactly is I? I can say I is equal to 1. Then I'll say I plus 1, and this will look very confusing, and I'm going to explain it to you what exactly I did. So the rule of while loop says that it runs until this condition is true. Now I'll say I is equal to I plus 1. Now let me explain this loop to you from the very top. When I say I is equal to 1, the value of I is now 1. I has been assigned with the value 1. We have already seen such a statement. Now let's see what happens when this line is executed. So while I less than 6, the rule of while loop says that firstly this condition will be checked. If the value of I is less than 6, the loop will be executed. Otherwise, this loop will be exited. Okay, now since 1 is less than 6, the loop will be executed and the control will enter the while loop. When I say enter the while loop, it will go to print I, which is inside the while loop. Why is print I inside the while loop? Because we already have an indent here. So since we have an indent here, these two lines are inside the while loop. Okay, now what happens is when I say print I, 1 is printed on the screen. But right after 1 is printed, in line number 10, I has been updated to I plus 1, which means that the value of I is now 2. Okay, now what happens is the control goes back to the while loop. Why does this happen? Because this is a loop, and by the rule, the control goes back to the while loop. Now the condition is once again checked. What is the value of I now? The value of I now is 2. And since the value of I is 2, what happens is 2 is less than 6 is checked, and it is true. 2 is less than 6, right? So the control goes inside the while loop. Print I prints 2 on the screen. And then once again, the value of I is updated. Now once again, since it is a loop, the control goes back to the while loop. The value of I now is 3. 3 is less than 6. Then 3 is printed. Then the value of I becomes 4. 4 less than 6. 4 is printed. The value of I now becomes 5. 5 less than 6. 5 is printed. The value of I now becomes 6. 6 less than 6, no. 6 is not less than 6, it's false. If you print 6 less than 6, it's false. And since 6 less than 6 is false, what happens is this loop is no longer executed now. And this loop simply exits. And the final output of this program is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's run this program and see if that is the case. As you can see, the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are printed on the screen. And this is the magic of while loop. While loop is very simple, but at the first glance, it might look very difficult to grasp. But do the dry run, take a pen and a paper and start running the while loop. Tell yourself what is the value of I. Value of I is 1. And then when I is less than 6, 1 is less than 6 is true, print 1. And then the value of I updates to 2. Then it runs for 2, 2 is printed, value of I is 3, then it runs for 3, 3 is printed, value of I is now 4, then it runs for 4, 4 is printed, value of I is now 5, then it runs for 5, 5 is printed, then the value of I becomes 6. Then for 6 less than 6, this condition is false, which means that 6 is no longer printed, and this program ends up printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I hope you were able to grasp the program, and for your convenience, what I've done is I've exactly written these rules inside the handbook so that you can access them and you can revise them after you finish this course. So the syntax of while loop goes like this, and then I have also presented an example for you. Now before we wrap up this video, I want to discuss about infinite loop. And infinite loops are sometimes very useful But if you make a mistake by accidentally converting a regular loop to an infinite loop, you are going to run into trouble. Let me show you what infinite loops are. Let us say I make a mistake and I forget to update I, and I somehow say instead of writing I is equal to I plus 1, I end up writing I plus 1. Okay, let me copy this program and let me create another program which is 03 underscore infinite loops.py. Okay, now I is equal to 1, y I is less than 6, print I plus 1. We have already seen the output of this program, which is 1 2 3 4 5. Now let us say that I forget I is equal to I plus 1, and instead of writing I is equal to I plus 1, I accidentally write I plus 1. What will happen is this program will run, but this will never update I, which means that the value of I will always be 1, which in turn means that this loop keeps on executing. Now, since this loop keeps on executing, the value of 1 will keep on printing on the screen, and this will keep on happening until my system crashes or until something wrong goes. Let's try to run this program. So if I run this program, it's printing 1. I need to delete this terminal, otherwise my computer will hang and I will no longer be able to record my screen, which I am using a software for. So these types of mistakes can end you up in infinite loops. But sometimes infinite loops are very, very useful. You can deliberately create an infinite loop by writing while true. And let us say I say while true and then I say print I, it will keep on printing I for me. And let us say I say I is equal to I plus 1. So it will keep on printing 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. And as you can see, it's printing 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So if you want to create something like this is the code. But again, you would not want to do that because this is an infinite loop, and don't create infinite loops because eventually your system will crash and you don't want that. So always create mindful loops, and whenever you are working with while loops, you have to be very, very careful. This is the reason why beginner programmers are advised not to use while loops, because if they run into errors, they'll keep on running and this will make your execution go on forever, and you don't want that. But on the other hand, sometimes while loop can be the direct way of solving a problem. We'll see such examples in the future, but for now, this was while loop, and this is how an infinite loop can be accidentally or intentionally created. I hope you are liking this course. I'll see you in the next video.